I don't know just how it happened. I let down my guard, swore I'd never fall
Ladies and gentlemen,
hard. Guess I should.
today here on the platform we'll discuss one of the main issues affecting the entire student population, coffee addiction, also called coffeeaholism. This problem is deeply felt by all of those who had to stay up all night last night revising for Carlo Cattir's art test. Now, let's greet our expert in the case, Dr. Laura M. Giuliano, who's a professor at Johns Hopkins University. She has completed a wide range of studies on the matter and it's one of the main specialists in the field. Welcome, Laura.
Good morning, Jackie. Thanks for hosting me.
Good morning. Now, before the doctor here tells us something more about the science behind coffeeaholism, let's get a few facts straight. To help us, here we have an extract from a report we showed a few weeks ago.
It has now long been debated whether or not consuming coffee on a daily basis can result in becoming an addict.
Hypnotized, I'm getting high on the perfume.
Well, studies have shown that there is no such thing as physical addiction to caffeine, even though we can still use the expression caffeine addiction or coffeeaholism from a linguistic point of view. An article on the American Journal of Drug and Alcohol Abuse concludes on the topic that caffeine does not meet the medical definition of addictive substance. However, it has been demonstrated that a consumption of at least 100 mg of caffeine per day can trigger withdrawal symptoms. In addition, Roland Griffith, one of Laura's colleagues in the Johns Hopkins University in the Psychopharmacology Journal, concludes that in general the incidence or severity of symptoms increased with increases in daily dose. Other studies have then confirmed that the excessive caffeine intake can lead to mild physical dependence on those who buy that. Therefore, we can state that caffeine must be addicted at least some level, and then we talk about caffeine dependence.
Amazing! Now, in order to educate the peasants watching us, let's define what coffee is. Coffee is a brewed drink prepared from roasted coffee beans. It's prepared with a labor-intensive method and can be served in many different ways. Yes, even with alcohol. Now, what gives coffee the ability to give us that energy rush that we need to find that 7 pages paper is caffeine. Can you explain us why, doctor, please?
Sure. Okay. Structurally, caffeine closely resembles a molecule that is naturally present in our brain, called adenosine. In fact, caffeine molecules can feed into our brain cells' adenosine receptors, effectively blocking them off. The adenosine produced over time locks into these receptors and produces a feeling of tiredness. However, caffeine can prevent this from occurring, thereby generating a sense of alertness and energy for a few hours.
Intriguing. Now, let's move on to the chemical aspect. What can you tell us, Laura?
Okay, actually there is a chemical process behind the reason why caffeine, that it's a drug, in case you didn't know, is addictive. In fact, when you drink or eat something containing caffeine, it's absorbed and dissolved into the bloodstream. Since it's both water and fat soluble, it's able to penetrate the blood-brain barrier and enter the brain. The adenosine receptor's block stays in place from anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, depending on the person's size, age, or other factors. The most notable change is that brain cells grow more adenosine receptors, which is the brain attempt to maintain the equilibrium in face of the continuous ingestion of caffeine. This even explains why caffeine drinkers build up a tolerance over time.
Jesus Christ, is there a possibility to save our insignificant souls?
Of course. Indeed, compared to many other drug addictions, caffeine effects are relatively short-term. To kick the thing, you only need to go through from 7 to 12 days of symptoms without assuming any caffeine. During this period, the brain will naturally decrease the number of adenosine receptors in our cells, responding to the sudden lack of caffeine ingestion. And then the levels of adenosine receptors in your brain will reset to their baseline levels, and your addiction will be broken.
Great, thank you very much, Laura. Now, let's analyze the case of someone directly involved. Our next guest is in fact part of the minority most affected by the problem, Kateri students. So, welcome now Elena Gado, whose coffee addiction led to chronic cough, anxiety, and insanity. Welcome, Helena, can you hear me?
Sure. Good morning.
So, let's talk about your problem. What is your daily intake when it comes to caffeine?
About 5 coffees a day, apart from Monday, when I drink up to 7 cups in view of Kateri's lessons. I usually get a cup of coffee in the morning for breakfast. I then get another one at the break with other sleeping mates. And I then proceed with 2 or 3 cups as the day passes to kick away the sleepiness. Before, to wake up, a cappuccino was all that I took, but now I found myself in need of consuming a much greater dose of coffee to achieve the same effect.
Last one night alone, baby, I couldn't stand the pain.
Been there. So, doctor, what do you think about her situation?
From what you told me, I can deduce that your body has probably developed a high caffeine tolerance. That's the reason you now need to drink more caffeinated beverages to acquire the same energy rush.
Now, however, tell us, do you sometimes happen to exaggerate and overdose on it?
Well, yes, I do, especially when I have big essays or homework coming up. The worst comes when I have 300 pages about Gothic cathedrals to study, and then I need to get at least 3 coffees to pass by the night. I know, my life sounds terrible.
That sounds so unfortunate. And how do you feel after the abuse of caffeine?
Well, if I'm lucky, I only have nervousness, anxiety, vomiting, sweating, nausea, and insomnia. Yeah.
Excuse me? When you're lucky? And what about you do not assume your normal intake and ingest too much caffeine?
Well, yeah, I actually ended up at the hospital once. 12 espresso in one evening. I was feeling so bad that I was drenched. I was burning and hyperventilating. My heart was beating so fast that I thought I was going into shock.
Yeah, that's plausible. You just stated all the possible symptoms and consequences of coffee addiction and overdose.
Ouch. So, Elena, have you ever tried quitting it?
Yes, I actually have. I felt just terrible. I was irritable and depressed. Not to mention all the pain I felt on my muscles, the nausea, all the times I had to rush to the bathroom because of it. And I didn't even mention how little my productivity was. I just stayed at my desk a whole afternoon without the motivation to do anything. And meanwhile, my math book was there, watching me together with my drawing. Undone.
I see. Still, from what recent studies have shown, you're not completely dead, Horst. In fact, it seems like you only have to stop taking it for about 10 days to kick the habits. There are many benefits you can achieve. For example, better mood, better sleep, less anxiety, and even financial savings. Also, quitting caffeine will make it work again, because when you take coffee every day, the body starts to develop a sense of normal instead of the euphoric feeling. Do you agree, Professor?
Yes, of course. As a matter of fact, quitting coffee resets your body caffeine tolerance. It can even lower the risk of diseases such as cancer, mental issues, and even the risk of death. But on the other hand, quitting caffeine has its own benefits too. For example, it can decrease the risk of cardiac events, type 2 diabetes, and dementia. Anyway, I would still recommend you to quit drinking caffeine because the good aspects of drinking doesn't compensate for the bad ones. But you have to choose.
I see. Still, how will I get by 10 days without coffee supporting me during the sleepless nights? And do you know that Professor Romagnoli is going to call me soon? And that I have 3 drawings to get done. And worst is that I don't even know how to do a handstand.
Oh god, neither can I.
I understand, but it's a matter of health, my dear. Your mental sanity is concerned.
I know.
Well, Elena, thanks for staying with us. Now, stay tuned after the advertisement to find out more about coffeeaholism.
Lost in your eyes, drowning in blue, out of control. What can I do?
Nespresso para él.
Addicted to you. Midnight blows in.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we'll discuss one... Rifai. Do you agree, Professor?
Yes, of course. As a matter of fact, quitting resets your body caffeine tolerance. Verified.
Sì, faceva schifo sta parte.
About 5 coffees a day, apart from Monday when I have che li facciamo?
Been there. So, doctor, what do you think about it?
From what you told me, I can deduce that your body probably developed a high caffeine tolerance.
With some other sleeping mates. And
Yes, I actually have. I felt just terrible. I had headache, sleepiness. I was irritable and depressed. And not to mention the pain I felt on my muscles. the nausea.
Oh god, neither can I.
I understand, but it's a matter of health. Madonna!
I see. Still, from what recent studies have shown, you're not completely dead worse. In fact, it seems like you only have to stop taking it for about 10 days to kick the habit. To kick the habit. Oddio. Non ti puoi arrabbiare con me perché... Oddio. Non ti puoi arrabbiare con me perché...
Non ti puoi arrabbiare con me.
Nespresso para él.